Hello everyone, it's DuckFire07. Today we are playing RAKDOS Tribal Vampires Brew. Okay, so this is the build based around new card Vayne Reaper. This card is actually much stronger than it looks on the first sight. I don't know if you have ever seen it in play, but we will see it right now in modern metagame. Okay, so we got Persist and we got Sorin. These two cards let us cheat this guy in the early turns, and he does a very good job ending the game quickly if not answered. Okay, so other persist targets in our decks are Troll of Khazad-dûm. That works very well with persist. It's great persist target. Also, it's kind of almost free to include it. It works well with persist. You play it instead of I would usually play like 20 or 21 land. So it's kind of a free inclusion, and it has nice synergy with persist. I think having additional persist targets work pretty well, but we got enough ways to put our creatures into the yard. So Epicure, Neonate, Harvester, all these guys are vampires and are cheap and put cards into the graveyard. So we also got Bloodghast, we also got Silversmote Ghoul. So all the good graveyard payoffs, and they are all vampires. So Silversmote Ghoul is especially works well with Sorin because you can sacrifice the ghoul and then you gain 3 life. End of turn it comes back anyway, so it's a nice synergy with ghoul. And when you have Sorin on the field and ghoul, you can just plus Sorin infinite times with the ghoul. Always have a target to deal 3 damage. Bloodghast works similarly as long as you have lands to bring them back. Okay, so other than that, we've got some non-combo, let's say non-combo vampire cards. These are there are 3 Gatekeeper of Malakirs. With Kicker, this guy forces opponent to sacrifice a creature. And we also got Stromkirk Condemned, kind of a tribal vampire card that is also another discard outlet. For 0 mana lets you discard your cards like Bloodghast, Ghoul, a Champion of Dusk, a Troll, Vayne Reaper, so all these guys that you can then persist later. So it works great both ways. It enables your aggro plan, but also it's a discard outlet. I really like it. Okay, so other than that, Champion of Dusk, it's also vampire card. So when it enters the battlefield, you draw X and lose X life, where X is the number of vampires you control. Basically, their deck is all vampires except for Troll, and you have all these guys that recur from the graveyard, and you have a lot of cheap vampires, so there is a high chance Champion of Dusk will do a great job. It is hard castable, it is a 5 mana, but it's also a decent persist target. It's also a decent Sorin target to cheat it in earlier. I really like it so far. And that's it, that's the whole deck. So the plan of the deck is to cheat out the Vayne Reaper, Champion of Dusk, Troll in the early turns using the Persist or Sorin, or win just by aggro plan. When you have Vayne Reaper in the field, it's very strong in this deck. Each creature you sack, and each creature that dies, it drains opponent for 2 and you gain 2. So when you use the Sorin ability, you sacrifice a vampire, then opponent loses 2, you gain 2, you deal 3 damage to some creature, it dies, then ability repeats. So it does a lot of draining. And this is my list from the first league I played with this deck, and after this league I'm tempted to include some quasi mass removal, like something like Storm Rat or Brotherhood's End, maybe cards like that can clear the board with Vayne Reaper on the field. That can be like almost lethal damage, just killing your own stuff, your own creatures, and together with opponent's creatures. Vayne Reaper just can do a lot of damage that way. It's an interesting option. Okay, not yet decided on which one should I include. There's like Path of Peril, Brotherhood's End, Storm Rat, and similar stuff. Okay, so that is it. Let us go check the sideboard. We have some Blood Moon effects here, some Cascade Hate, some removals, and Graveyard Hate. That is it. Let's check out the gameplay. Okay, so in first league with this deck, I actually went 4-1. It was extremely fun league, and the deck feels like more than playable. I really kind of like it. It's fun, and it does some powerful stuff, and there's no removal in the main, but you got 3 Gatekeepers, you got 4 Bloodtithe Harvesters, so, and you got 4 Sorins, so there is some removal definitely in the main, in the creatures, and in with Sorins. Okay, so opponent actually went 3 Archive Traps in response to my guy, and then they also have Cacophony to mill additional 8, leaving me with 2 cards, and I still had like lethal next turn if they don't mill more this turn. So yeah, opponent did end up having exactly the last card they need. If they didn't have this, they would just die. I would discard a card for Condemned ability and then finish them off with Sorin. So yeah, it was almost a turn 3 kill, but opponent had even crazier hand. Okay, so let's check out game 2. But yeah, like definitely crazy game against Mill. Let's check this out. Against Mill, nothing, not much I have on my sideboard to bring in this matchup, so I just didn't do anything, especially when I'm playing first. So here I go bring back the Bloodghast. Opponent is milling me, so they're basically helping me kill them sooner. And here I don't have a removal, but I find Sorin and I have Harvester in hand. I didn't find removal, but I'm attacking for a lot of damage here, bringing back additional Bloodghast from the yard. And here I find Sorin. I can sack my creature, deal them 2, kill their creature, then deal 2 again, and I get back 2 Silversmote Ghouls from the graveyard. This means I have like definite win next turn, but they play bridge, but they have 3 cards in hand, so I still have easy lethal even without Sorin. So that is the game. Opponent concedes. Let's check out game 3. So yeah, the second thing is I didn't include artifact hate. I just said that in cases like this, if opponent plays something like bridge, I still have a Sorin. That is additional way I can beat this. And for this first league, I decided to go without actual artifact hate, which is maybe not great long term. But here I went like Voldaren Epicure, discard Bloodghast, get the Bloodghast back, draw a card, play the Sorin, get Vein Ripper in play. I have a lot of damage next turn, and my opponent plays bridge again. And here I of course go for Sorin sack to kill the Ruin Crab, put Vein Ripper on the field, on top of my library, and pass the turn. Opponent there goes for a crab. They have bridge, so they're maybe counting they can do something with bridge. Here I plus my Sorin. Opponent decides to use their Field of Ruin. This was great because I had Vein Ripper in hand, which I can cast now. Okay, so here first I use my Sorin ability, deal 3 to face, and then I play a land, get the Bloodghast back. Play the Ripper, sacrifice the Harvester, and yeah, sacrificing the Harvester deals 4 damage to opponent, and then I kill the crab, and that is additional 4 damage. And with yeah, sack before was 2 damage, and the damage with Sorin to face was additional 3. So lot of damage this turn just for Sorin around a snaring bridge, basically no problem. And yeah, that was the match 1, a very fun match 1. Okay, let's check out match 2. Opponent had a crazy hand in game 2. That was the only reason why they were able to win. Okay, so here I start with Voldaren Epicure, turn 1, so this means I'm hoping to get a land. Didn't get it, so I had to crack had to crack my artifact, put champion in the yard, and yeah, I'm playing against elves hoping they don't have anything too crazy, but they did play a turn 2 Arc Druid and they have a heritage too. I was hoping for a land to kill the Arc Druid, didn't get it, had to dig for it, so I played the champion here. Draw 2 cards with champion. The champion was decent, but yeah, this was too late. Our opponent had too much stuff and they just hardcast the Craterhoof for absolutely enough damage for the lethal. So that was the game. Let's check out game 2. Okay, so mulliganing to 6. Doing a surveilling on turn 1. Having this one surveil land in deck is just so much helpful. So here I go. Opponent didn't actually have a dork on turn 1. This was really helpful. I think its matchup is unfavorable on the draw. But now I have a Harvester and hoping it will be on time. I decided to discard the Bloodghast here and then just use my removal to get rid of the War Master and save the Harvester for later. And this way I was able to just attack with Harvester, deal some damage there. Okay, here I play another Harvester to sacrifice my first one, kill the Nettle Sentinel and pass the turn. So didn't want to trade with Harvester because I wanted to kill a War Master, then continue attacking with my guys, play Epicure, play another Neonate. Opponent uses the Shaman of the Pack, and this is like really epic battle here. So late in the game I didn't have a good persist target yet, so I just used it on I had to use it on something. Unfortunately finding the Vein Ripper turn too late. So very exciting, like beat down from both sides. Opponent has to keep a blocker there on their turn. So I go with both, we trade. I play Neonate as a blocker here, so decide to trade with Druid, survive on 1 life, and opponent has 1 blocker. I'm really curious what else did they have in their hand. Probably like a blocker lands, or I would guess lands, yeah. So I top deck Terminate to kill Elf for the Bloodghast lethal, actually funny. Land would also do, which returns my second Bloodghast from the graveyard that gets haste, that gives him haste. Sorin would also do it. So there were some decent top decks there, and yeah, I got it. So let's check out game 3. Okay, in game 3, a weird hand, but I have a persist, I have explosives, and I have a fetch to surveil on turn 1, and actually I find a third Vein Ripper, put it in the yard. I was hoping to get one of my discard guys like Neonate, whatever, but yeah, even better, I got the Vein Ripper immediately. And opponent actually had Arc Druid and a War Master and a Dork there, a bunch of stuff. They didn't have a win con. They wouldn't be able to do much this turn anyway, but here I play the explosives, kill 4 of their creatures, deal 8 to their face, gain 8 life and put them to 7 life, which means with Bloodghast next turn this is lethal damage. So if they block or whatever, and I also draw into Gatekeeper, which does 2 damage also. So yeah, they sacrifice a creature, lose 2, and I finish things up with the Vein Ripper. Pretty cool win. And this is basically the reason why I thought that I should probably be playing like Brotherhood's End or Stormwrath, stuff like that on the sideboard, or maybe Path to Peril, something similar to that, because if you have Vein Ripper in the field and if you're playing aggro matchup, just playing Path of Peril or something like this just can kill opponent immediately. It can get really crazy. Okay, so that is it. That is a match 2. So let's check out another win. We'll watch the last defeat. In the end, the defeat was against a Living End, which I think it's a great matchup. There's just a lot of ways to put stuff in the yard. Unfortunately, last game they won with Leyline of the Void. I should have probably mulliganed better. We will see that later. Okay, so I was playing against a blue-red Breach. It wasn't a Murktide build, it was a Breach build. I think they didn't play Murktide. Okay, so here I go like Epicure turn 1, turn 2 Harvester. Opponent tries to find Delirium, they don't find it, so they let 1 damage through. Harvester is great attacker here. I can also use it to kill a Channeler if I want. I was thinking between a few options here, but I decided to kill 1 Channeler and just go for the attacks, putting my opponent to 12. Next turn I can use the Condemned Stromkirk ability, so to go in for more damage. Okay, so opponent has Delirium, attacks for 3, passes the turn, and now I get my land. Okay, so here I use the Condemned ability to discard Bloodghast, get Bloodghast back immediately. My guys are attacking for 5 damage, and now I play the Harvester. I didn't want to shock in for 3 to play the Neonate. It didn't seem necessary, and I didn't want to let them get close to a kill with the Lightning Bolt. So I didn't want to lose life there. I just passed the turn so I can end of turn Surveil or discard card with blood token, whatever. I had a lot of attackers there that could potentially do lethal damage. Opponent plays Breach, plays 3 Channelers and passes the turn. They get the Delirium again, which means they can really block here and here. Okay, so discard the card. Yeah, so maybe yeah, unfortunately I didn't let the Epicure. I had Epicure on top, but I decided to put it in the yard. If my opponent survived on 1, and luckily they didn't have another Breach or enough bolts for the kill. But maybe yeah, I should have kept Epicure on top. Maybe I should have expected them leaving 6 damage there to survive on 1. But yeah, opponent didn't have anything anyway, so I got my win. So that was game 1. Let's check out game 2. Okay, let's also check the sideboarding plan for the Murktide matchup and the Breach. They are pretty similar. Okay, so here I boarded in the Chalice of the Void, sideboarded out some of my 1-drops, because my plan here is to just try to play Chalice on 1. Okay, turn 1 I go for the Survey Land. Survey Land, like, doing a great job again. I go for the Persist tier 2 and I get the Wayne Ripper. It is very hard to beat a turn 2 Wayne Ripper. It's like really hard, and here I go like Chalice of the Void on turn 3. I'm not sure what did my opponent have here, but they certainly didn't have counterspell, or they probably sided out the Pierce or whatever. Okay, I decided to stay back with the Reaper here to try to just kill this channeler for free, but opponent got Breach to replay the bubble, lose the Delirium to save their channeler. This was totally fine. I'm in a great situation. Chalice and the Wayne Ripper on the field, really hard to lose this one. Okay, other than that, on the draw I cut the Champion of Dusks. The opponent's deck can be pretty aggressive, so losing a lot of life with Champion can definitely be risky. So here I terminated their Sheldred and their Shredder, and I blocked their Channeler for this. That is more damage, 4 damage there, just killing their creatures. And I reanimate another Troll, which means lethal damage next turn, all evasive, and the Chalice on the field. Opponent Can't do anything. Of course, I brought in the Leyline of the Voids against my opponent's Breach deck, and they play Heats, they can kill my guys and stuff like that, so definitely brought in that and the Chalice, and it was worth it. Okay, so that was the game and the match there. Let's check out the match 4. Okay, mulliganed that one, and here it's definitely keepable hand. I'm playing first, and I have a turn 3 a Vayne Reaper with Sorin. This means my opponent has to get rid of both Sorin and the Vayne Reaper because I'm playing against Burn. And yeah, I'm playing against Burn here. And Sorin is definitely a problem for them, and so is Vayne Reaper. So basically, they have to use removals to kill both my Planeswalker, and they can't kill the Vayne Reaper, but they also just can't attack with a Swift Spear here. If they attack, I'll jump with my guy, and then I gain 2 life. They had a lot of burn spells like Bolt, Rift Bolt, Skewer, Bump into Night. I played the Harvester. I'm now on 7, and I will use my blood token to try to draw into something. I didn't get it, and here I top deck Stromkirk Condemned, and I can discard a card. So this means my opponent is forced to block, and when they block, the creature dies, and I do the Vayne Reaper ability, gain 2, and most importantly they lose 2 and just loses the game. I have lethal damage, so that is it. Okay, so pretty cool turn 5 kill, and let's check out the game 2. Okay, also let's check out the sideboarding plan. Against Burn, I just brought in a couple of Terminates. I definitely don't want the Champion of Dusks in this one. Also brought in the Chalice of the Void. And I play some 1-drops, but they play much more, so I was okay with this. I kept a pretty bad hand, and my draws weren't much better. So yeah, here I decided to go just for a turn 2 Chalice to prevent them from playing their 1-mana spells. They have a lot of those. And yeah, so I just didn't have much here, and my opponent has a removal for my Chalice, which is like totally okay for me because I don't have much here anyway. And yeah, opponent goes in with Swift Spear. It's a pretty hard game for me, this one. I don't have much ways to stabilize here, but I do have Sorin in my deck, and I do have some vampires on the field. If I can get Sorin, that was my hope, and I actually did get it. I have blood token and 2 neonates, which help me find what I need. Okay, first top deck was a Terminate here, and then with second one I find the Sorin. So now I play the Sorin, sacrifice the neonate, deal 3 damage to the face, and I decided to use Terminate immediately. Here I use the blood token to do the redraw, and yeah, unfortunately in response my last card opponent had was hit and run. Didn't count on that. I should have first used the Sorin ability and then gain 3 life and then try to do the redraw. So yeah, that way I would have lived. But yeah, okay, it is fine. Let's check out the game 3. This was a bad keep anyway, pretty bad hand. So I didn't have much hopes of winning here anyway. Okay, third game, mulligan 2-5, but yeah, it is pretty simple. It is decent hand. I just need like that Vayne Reaper or something like that. Okay, also I can just try to like raise them with my creatures if I can get a decent top deck. Okay, opponent plays the Searing Blaze, kills the Harvester, and Sorin can easily win this game. I just need to start sacking the creatures, gaining some life. That will be very difficult for them to deal with. And yeah, here I sacrificed the blood token and I played the chalice. I play the chalice on one. They play a lot of one mana spells, so I think that's pretty good against them. And here opponent exile machinations and bolt, which they are not able to do this. And next turn I top deck the Ripper and plus the Sorin, get him the Death Touch and lifelink. And yeah, this is pretty unwinnable here for the opponent. Yeah, they use the hit and run, but at this point I can just sacrifice anything. And again I give a Death Touch lifelink to my guy, and the Bloodghast, which has haste here for the lethal on this exact turn. So that is the game and the match. And yeah, let's check out the final match of this league against Living End. I think the Living End is pretty decent matchup. Yeah, I was playing first. Here. Maybe I could have played slightly better. This one, I decided to go for the Surveil. On turn 1, my opponent plays tapped Breeding Pool, passes the turn, so I go for the Surveil, of course. I put a second Sorin to the yard, and unfortunately just find another Blood Crypt from the top. I was looking for definitely Vein Ripper here, or basically any good creature which I can put in the yard. That would be very helpful against them, but all I find was like Epicure. That wasn't like... I should have played the Sorin turn before to put a counter on my guy and try to get the lifelink and the damage. Maybe that could be relevant. But opponent had a Force of Negation anyway, so it didn't matter. And okay, here I find a Champion of the Dusk that is actually quite useful. Here I can discard it in response to whatever, and to the Living End, and then I'll definitely get at least 2 vampires back. And that's exactly what I did. Also discarded another Neonate. This means 3 vampires in the yard. This means me drawing 3 cards here, and I have another Persist in hand, and I have some Chompers. This means I can probably stabilize pretty quickly. Also I play Troll of Khazad-dûm in my deck, which is a great value when you're playing against a Living End. This improves the matchup a lot. Okay, here I blocked their Architect, jumped the Neonate, and let the 3 damage through. This way I was able to start attacking with the Champion. And at this point I thought like I probably have a decent chance to win this one. I could go for additional damage here. Didn't want to discard more cards with the Stromkirk here. I was expecting them to attack again, so I can jump Vaker and yeah, then do the ability again. With Neonate, my draws weren't very good. I was thinking about a cycling Troll there. I decided against it. Okay, so yeah, maybe I should have played this differently. I think I definitely should. There was no need to play both of my spells. I should have just played like a Gatekeeper. It kills their creature, chumps them for a turn, and just leave the Persist in my hand. I think that was much better play. And this way I still had a decent yard, couple of creatures there, ability to discard another Troll. But yeah, my opponent sacked their Vaker, which definitely means they will do the Living End thing again. Yeah, I didn't play well there and I got punished. Okay, so but here my opponent is on 3 life, and I have a lot of top decks that can decide the game here, like Vein Ripper just wins this game. Sorin also wins this game immediately. Okay, so here I have a lot of these creatures that can do drawing and redrawing, and I try to find Wincon here. A lot of looks at the top. I can pass the turn, do 3 draws with Ghoul, Neonate, and the second Neonate. So my chances of trying to do something in this one are decent. So I go for the draw with Ghoul, find the land, then of course dig more, find the Gatekeeper and the Persist. I have a Champion of Dusk which draws me some cards here, presents another blocker, and yeah, maybe I should have expected them having the subtlety here. Maybe it was better play to go for the Persist first. Yeah, I think I just didn't play this game as well as I could, but yeah, I went for the Persist, and my draws weren't great anyway, so I probably wouldn't do much. I would lose the game anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, okay, so that was a loss in game 1 against Living End, and I had different play available there, which would maybe win me this one. So it could possibly be a trophy game if I played this a bit differently. Okay, so here I go for the Stromkirk Condemned. It is a discard outlet which puts Vein Reaper in my yard, also Champion of Dusk, making it together with Troll, making it very hard for opponent to win the war with the Living End. I have like very relevant stuff I can put in the yard. I go for the Vein Reaper here, and I find another Troll. This means like next turn I'll have like 3 very powerful creatures in the yard. Okay, so here I go for another cycle, and I have some options. I decide to go for the Neonate and the Stromkirk. These creatures are great on the field. They can discard the card, put my creatures in response to the Living End, of course. And they also like present good attackers here that can finish the game quickly. Okay, so I actually have a little here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I can go for a discard here, get +1 to all of my creatures, put my opponent to 2 life, then persist the Vein Reaper, sack the Neonate for the last 2 life. If the opponent goes for the Living End, I get back the Vein Reaper and I win the game immediately. So the opponent doesn't have a much chance here. I go for the attacks. I have 2 lethal attackers here, so there's just no possible plays by the opponent here to survive the turn. In response to the Living End, I discard my last creature, and then I just let all the abilities resolve. I draw cards with the champion, and then I use the Neonate to kill my creatures, drain them for last 2 life, and that was the game. Okay, so let's check out the last match of this league that potentially costed me the trophy here. Okay, so I risk it here a bit, and I said, okay, let's try to keep it. If they don't have Leyline of the Void, I can discard. I can turn to discard Vein Reaper, discard another creature in their upkeep, and I also get to surveil on turn 1. So it felt like okay keep, but yeah, since my opponent started with Leyline of the Void, it was immediately much worse. Okay, so here opponent decides to go for the early Living End, and yeah, so this means I get to put Sorin in the field and Vein Reaper, which also gets me some chances to turn this game around, but opponent had a great move to 5 with Leyline of the Void, some Cyclers, Cascade Spell, and the Force of Negation backup. So yeah, there's nothing I could do here. My initial hand wasn't good enough. I should have mulligans probably to either Chalice or the Leyline of the Void to win this one. I decided to try to risk it with a fair hand and just discarding my creatures, but that didn't work because of the leyline, so that was it. But very shocked, like surprised how well is this deck working. And yeah, just it's funny just seeing that a vampire tribal is actually feels playable in modern because of this very strong card. 6 mana of vampire that just makes this archetype so much better, because you have all these recurring creatures and the cheap creatures that you can either sacrifice like Harvester or Neonate, or you can sacrifice them with Sorin. You can recur them and they can opponent will have to chump them, and also like Silversmote Ghoul also sacrifices itself. So there is a lot of ways to like force opponents to chump block and drain them with Vein Ripper, but also I would consider maybe playing a card on the sideboard that does sweep the whole floor, sweep the entire small creatures, like kill all your own stuff and kill opponent stuff too, do the lot of Ripper abilities and try to win that way in some games. Okay, so that is it. Please click like, click subscribe if you like the video, comment in the video how do you feel about this deck. This is my first and only league I played with it so far, and I'm really surprised how well did it do. And I feel like it definitely has potential. It's like a sweet, a fun deck, if nothing else. If it's not like has the potential to be really good in the metagame, at least I think this can be super fun stuff to bring to your FNM, and you will have a chance to win a game against most stuff and do some serious combo-ish stuff and deal a lot of damage with Vein Ripper, Sorin, and yeah, all your recursive creatures. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.